And welcome back to the Stabby Shows. I have returned. Yes, I have. I have returned, great ones. Maybe not so great. But we're all human, right? We're all human. I've taken some old sleeping pills, and I'm hoping they'll work. They're really old. They're old. But I haven't been sleeping well. Just busy. Can't go to sleep, I gotta do this. Can't go to sleep, I gotta do that. It's been crazy. Now, at the end of August, we'll be heading towards the fourth, counting 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 trial of Shannon Kepler in Tulsa. I'll be covering that again. I have no words for the last Shannon Kepler trial. You're probably not familiar. Okay, Shannon Kepler had a daughter, adopted daughter. She's 18. He drops her off at the homeless shelter, kind of to scare her straight. Well, it didn't scare her. Lisa was her name. And she ran into Jeremy Lake, and they became boyfriend and girlfriend. Well, they allow Lisa to pretty much live on the streets. And they troll her Facebook page. This is their parents, that is, adopted parents. Then, what happens is that they see the status has changed, the relationship status. It's changed to in a relationship with, drumroll please, Jeremy Lake. Jeremy Lake is just a young individual, and he's pretty idealistic. He volunteers at the day center, which is the homeless shelter. And it's just pretty crazy. Well, unfortunately, the dad has a problem with this. He has a big problem. Did I mention he's a police officer? Yes, he's a police officer. So, they have this thing called Traces, which is an internal database within the Tulsa Police Department. Now, it's illegal for him to use it for his own purposes, so he gets someone else to do it for him. He gets the piece of paper from Traces, and Jeremy has a rap sheet. He, what did they call it? Assaulted a DHS worker when he was 13. 13. Maybe some people didn't make the right choices at the age of 13. Jeremy was one of those people. But that's about it. He assaulted a DHS worker. And by the way, they made a big deal of that in the press. So, Shannon Kepler, the police officer, the daddy of poor little Lisa that he dropped off at the homeless shelter. He drives down when it's dark, mind you, in a black Suburban. It's August, the beginning of August. It's hot, wet, sticky, humid Oklahoma weather. And what does he bring? He wears dark clothes, and he brings a beanie hat. A brown one, a hat. Like a skull hat, if that makes any sense. He puts it on. He rolls down the window. Says, "Hey, Lisa, what the hell do you think you're doing?" I'm thinking her response will be, "Well, gee, Dad, you dropped me off at the homeless shelter. You told me, toughen up," and a couple other words. But instead she goes, "I have nothing to say to you." And she walks away. Well, then he runs into Jeremy Lake. This is a really bad happening. And apparently, Jeremy extended his hand and said, "Hi, I'm Jeremy." And boom, boom, boom. I think there was 3 shots, and then there was 4 shots. It was a .45, which that doesn't have casings, by the way. And the bullet just goes into the body. Now, I have notes from this, and it's all rather gory and nasty and dark and twisted. And of course he says that Jeremy had a gun. Jeremy had a pocket knife and carried a pocket knife quite often. Living in that area, you needed to have something, especially if you were on foot. So Jeremy had a pocket knife. Pocket knife, gun. How could he just whoa. And apparently some of his family members were on the porch as this happens. I mean, it's just one big cluster, you know what. And they do closing remarks on the third trial. Would you believe the judge falls asleep during closing remarks? Closing remarks. And I'll tell you what, that DA, I've seen him give closing remarks before, but nothing compares to this. This is as if his job depended on it. And I think he believes it does. They just want a verdict. There's been 3 mistrials. And this Richard O'Carroll, the defense attorney, mistrial, Your Honor. Objection. He's never met an objection that he wouldn't use, I swear to God. If you're in trouble, this is the guy to defend you. Richard O'Carroll. And he always poses for pictures. He's one of the few attorneys that will do this. Most of them just want to get to the elevator and get the hell out of there. So, I don't know. I'm hoping that if the DA does closing remarks like he did this last time, oh my God, it was so good. I felt like I was in one of those John Grisham novels. People, their jaws were dropping. I've never seen a response like this. Like, we all wanted to stand and clap. We all did, because it was just so well done. Then Richard O'Carroll gets up there, and he messes up the timeline. The judge has fallen asleep. We're wondering if she's going to start snoring. We start counting how many times she falls asleep. Like, she'll wake herself. How you wake with a start? Like that. You kind of shake your head to try to stay awake. Well, the jury only deliberated for 2 hours. And then she lets them go. This is the 3rd trial, mind you. You'd think Tulsa would deserve a verdict. Any city would deserve a verdict. Because this was cold, calculated murder. Remember that Trace's paper that I talked about earlier that had his rap sheet on it? Would also had his address, his date of birth, all the particulars of him, his docs, if you will. And on the back of the sheet, he had written the address of Jeremy Lake. He knew exactly where Jeremy Lake lived, and he was going to find him. And if Lisa didn't come home with him that night, well, by God, he was going to kill him. That's the premise. Now, the truth is sometimes in between. I don't know if anybody's here. Well, I'm just going to talk till my medicine makes me sleepy, and then I'll go to sleep. Let me push this button. Alright. So I did a podcast earlier about a powwow that was just so cool. And sometimes when I come across cool events, I like people to hear them. Oh gosh. Sorry. I think the last series of podcasts that I did were on the Oklahoma State Democratic Convention. And it was the reconvene, because we did this once before, and it lasted till 11 p.m. And it was an election of only 5 or 7 offices. We couldn't do that in 3 hours. I mean, come on. We ended up electing the youngest chairwoman we've ever had. She's only 24. And I'll tell you what, Langthorne, she is a force to be reckoned with. Because on that reconvene, because we had to do the rules and resolutions, she was very straightforward. Put that gavel down and objection, objection, objection. We're moving on. It was a call, if you have an objection, you better talk now, or forever hold your peace. I've been to a lot of conventions, I'll be honest. A state delegate at each time, and wow, she really did a good job. And we got done 1 minute under time. That has never happened before. That was so cool. We were so excited. And boy, did I enjoy my sleep that night. Uh-oh, I think I lost my phone. Let's hope it hasn't disconnected. Okay. Let me see if I can fix it. Alright. I make sure I didn't. Come on. All right. So anyway, I've been pretty busy with the Democratic Party. I mean, there's so many committees and it's just not the Democratic Party. I do a lot of photojournalism now. And a lot of activist groups, they're having events. They really don't have people to help them. So who gets the phone calls or messages? It's me. And I'm happy to do them. It's just that there's so many of them. Each time I get to do an event, I get better at taking pictures that would be good for their websites or whatever reason they want to take it, that have it taken. But, excuse me, some groups are doing better. I think the pill is starting to relax me. Maybe I can actually go to sleep. I wanted to talk about the Black Wall Street Times. It's a digital newspaper. And if you're African American or just interested, in the history of Tulsa, there was the Black Wall Street, as they called it. It was kind of a famous thing. Because Tulsa, at one time in the 1921, was the richest city in the world. In World War I, Tulsa, Oklahoma, supplied 2/3 of the oil needed for World War I. I mean, it was rolling in money. It really was. Paris wasn't richer. Munich wasn't richer. London was not richer. We were the Dubai of that generation. And at that time, the area between Greenwood, Archer, and Pine, known as the Gap, that's where all the African Americans had to live because of segregation. And they were so wealthy. They had an opera. They had their own stock exchange, a really nice hospital, and it was their money that built it. In spite of the limitations put on them from white society. I mean, our first law in Oklahoma was to segregate, so I don't know. I feel like I want to podcast again. I'll probably podcast from the, Shannon Kepler trial over the murder of Jeremy Lake. And there's a couple other trials coming up, but that one has received national attention. Previously, I had gone to the Shelby trial, and I think a lot of people are quite familiar with that. And honestly, but the case that was presented for the defense and the DA, who really dropped the ball, in my opinion, the evidence that was presented, she was not guilty. And I don't often talk about that because that's a very unpopular opinion to have, especially around my activist friends. What she did was wrong, in my opinion, but they didn't prove their case in court. And sometimes it happens that way. The truth really doesn't get shown. But we have a constitution that's based on equal justice, meaning equal representation, equal justice under the law. But people are fallible. Kind of like that judge that fell asleep in the Kepler trial. Can you recuse yourself? Are you so high and mighty to pass judgment on these juries and judges and circumstances and lack of circumstances, lack of evidence? I don't think any of us are. At least that's what I think. Let's see here. I don't know if Stabby's come around. Of course, I didn't promote it, so let's see if I'm being too loud. It's working just fine. Oh, gosh. I think I'm going to turn in. That was my bedtime story for the night. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're working on yourself and doing better, and especially being kind to one another. That is one of the hardest things to do when you don't feel like being kind. Say a compliment to someone or step aside. Don't say that horrible thought in your head out loud. Be kind, because you don't know what struggle they're going through. You truly do not. Anyway, I am grateful for my life and all these different wonderful things that are happening and the experiences I get to see, the courage I get to see. It jaw drops me and inspires me to do better. So, I think next time I'm going to talk about my upcoming class reunion. That's going to be televised. I don't know if I'm up for that. I just want to see my high school friends and have a good time. You know? I don't want to see it on the Food Network. I do not. But that's just me, and they'll probably tell me I don't have to, so. But I'm going. Have you guys gone to your class reunions? Come with me the next time, and we'll discuss class reunions. Should you go or should you not? And what were the biggest surprises if you did go? Hopefully I'll have Skype up in that virtual cable where I can take calls. Look up Political Woodstock. That's my Skype. And we can start from there. This has been another production of the Stabby Shows. Oh, I almost lost my phone again. Oh, wait. Someone's in the chat room. Hold on. Who is that? The angry what? The angry what? I cannot read those letters. I cannot read them at all. Sam I am. Remember that book, Sam I Am, I Will Not Eat Ham? Let's see here. Oh, you have? I guess I have been gone. You know what's silly, though, is I've been paying for this every single month, thinking I would start podcasting again. But I mean it this month. I mean it. I'm going to find some time. You know, I got some time before the State Fair. The State Fair, I'll be podcasting every day. And people are going to be saying what they think of Trump or politics or the state of our state or state of our nation. That should be amusing. That should be really amusing. Hey, Mr. Trump is in the chat room. Well, I've just been talking about the Shannon Kepler trial, how they're going to try it again. Some of the things I might be podcasting on, like the class reunion and, you know, everyone. Excuse me. I've been having a problem with my throat. Oh, God. Anyway, at least I didn't choke that time. But, you know, life is pretty good. I'm enjoying it. I get tired of having to clean all the time. My kids make messes everywhere. And I'm going to have a new student this year. So you may have heard her earlier this day. She went to the powwow with us. It was the 65th anniversary of the Tulsa powwow. It was pretty cool. I've been to some better ones, though. You know, they have gourd dances. And a gourd dance, if you go out in the country on different native land, it can last all night, like 24 hours. And it's very tiring. And those drums are loud. For the gourd dances, they're very loud drums. And they do these transitions. And they bang the drum like 4 times real loud. And then it softens. You know, it's a pimisio. I can't pronounce it. But it's a marking for your, like if you're playing the violin, to go very quiet. Forte would mean loud, boisterous. All that good stuff. You know, I just think these sleeping pills are too old and they're not working. They're not working at all. But I know if I try to sit up and walk, I'll have a problem. Because I tried this the other night just to try to sleep. Because I sometimes have to get up really early, get to the courthouse, get in line, and either take the elevator or run up the stairs and try to get a picture of the dude that's on trial, or a woman. You know. They had this blue line during the Shelby trial. Betty Shelby, she was on 60 Minutes, by the way. And, it was just bad. But they had this line where the media couldn't cross over, or they would arrest you. And it reminded me of the Eric Harris trial. I almost got arrested that time. I was standing by the CNN guy because I thought, well, that's a safe place to be. I was part of a group that the sheriff department did not like at all whatsoever. And then they made it sound like I had taken a picture of a juror, and I hadn't. Next thing I know, I'm in the judge's chambers, and the judge is in his black robe, you know. He's a decent judge, you know. He's a good judge. I go, well, honestly, I think this is what they heard, and I did this click thing so that the viewfinder comes on. I think that's what the gentleman heard, but as you can see, I had not taken any pictures of the juror. I was like, you know, my friend who was the head of our activist group is out there going, tell her she's got a lawyer. He's on the phone with the lawyer. You know, and just like, I didn't take a picture of a juror. I didn't. I wouldn't. You know, and all I wanted to say to him, if he could hear it, is, relax, I got this, I'm white. And sad to say, that was the truth. I think if I had been a color, they probably would have arrested my ass, but there was no picture at all of a juror. I would not do that. And I would tell you that that juror, the whole jury, they were very concerned with getting their picture taken. That type of thing. Boy, I think I'm feeling dizzy, but I'm not quite tired. This is frustrating. Maybe it's because I have some nerve problems in my right eye. And I take a pill. It's called Lyrica for it. So maybe that wasn't a good idea. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I finally feel relaxed. Just so relaxed. And I've tried drinking 2 glasses of water before bed. All that did was make me go to the bathroom. I mean, come on. I drink a lot of water now. I'm on that stupid low-carb diet. I'll tell you what, it is so stupid. I can't have any bread. Fruit's out of the question, too, because there's too many carbs. Do you realize how many carbs a banana has? Even half a banana? It's bad. It's just so bad. And I do have some processed food in my cupboards. You know, the canned food. Can't have that either. Everything has to be fresh. You can only love cauliflower and broccoli so often. We can eat ham and chicken. But this is just getting ridiculous if you ask me. But no one did. How do you move the chat? Oh my gosh. I don't like this feeling at all. Oh my Lord. Let me try turning a little bit. Ow. Okay. If there was light on, I think my room would be spinning. It feels that way. Who wants to go roller skating tomorrow? Anyone? Hands up. Angry Bond, if you're still there, can you go tell Apocalypse if he might sneak over? Don't do it in a rude way. So, you know, they even asked me if I wanted to run for office. And I tried so hard not to laugh out loud. I tried so hard. Like they don't even know, right? So, I said, I think there's better candidates. And I would not want to go to the Capitol all the time. That's not my thing. It's never been my thing. Or the city council. Do you know how many times they meet on Wednesdays? Not for me. And then you have to deal with the public. So, I'd rather just document. I enjoy documenting. I do so very much. Let's see. Hey, Donald Trump. Could you go tell Apocalypse to come over here? Usually I ask for Stabby, but he was being ornery earlier. And I'd probably have a few choice words for Stabby if he showed up, which I know he won't. I would like to do that gaming thing too, but, he just had a lot of words about the natives at the powwow. I found it insulting, limiting, and even beneath the character Stabby. Stabby's actually a nice guy. I like Stabby. He's one of my favorite chatters. Matter of fact, I have a show named after him called The Stabby Shows. And it's a very irreverent, which is why I'm talking the way I am. Anyway. I'm not 100% certain I'm going to take that child on. It's a lot of one-on-one attention with that one. And that takes up time, and I still have a lot of manipulatives that would work well for her. Maybe I could do it. What do you guys think? I have no idea. Where the hell is Stabby? You know what? Go find Stabby if you don't mind, Angry Ball. Tell him to come over here kindly and in a nice way. So I have my Skype and it's Political Woodstock if you want to request. I'll be happy to say yes. I feel silly. The way I feel right now reminds me when I was 8 years old. I was over at Tracy's house spending the night. And she lived downtown in one of those older homes that had character and curved hallways, where the hallway looks curved. And in the middle of the night, we decided we were going to put all these herbs together to make this little witch's pouch, right? We're like, well, throw some of this in there, and water, and oil, and looking back, it was so silly, but it was one of the best sleepovers I had, because it was so creative. So I don't think her mama was very happy I wasn't allowed back over, because of course it was my fault. But that's okay. I've been called a witch before. I was 5 when I was called a witch for the first time, but I was wearing a witch's costume. One of those old plastic masks that you could hardly breathe in. It had the witch's hat on and witch's garb on, and somebody thought I was a member of their family and brought me into their house. My parents just stood out there and let them, anyway. Like, oh, you're such a cute witch. Do you want something? Trick or treat. And I opened my bag, and of course they put stuff in it. I got a lot of stuff from those people. I remember that. But it felt so strange to be pulled into a stranger's home. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? I have no idea. Uh-oh. There, is that helping? Oh, wow, that's really loud. I'm sorry. Didn't mean for it to be so loud. But, oh my goodness. I got in touch with this Indian dude. And he is just so wonderful. Fabulous. So, and he's going into law. And at Tulsa University, you can get like a I don't know what the word is, but in tribal law and a few only a few universities offer that. And it's really cool because we have to use tribal law and all that. Well, I guess it's pretty dead, but it's been nice talking to you all. It was nice to just be back on air. I don't know how long this has been. It's probably only going to be 15 minutes. But take care, okay? I look forward to hearing from you guys and to hear your shows. Where is the off button? Can somebody help me find it? I think I found it.